Hello, this is Father Chris Podasky with part 6 in my little 2-minute mini-series on communism. I talked about there's two ways in which this communist critique has affected theology and spirituality. I mentioned theology in the last little video. Spirituality is one that nobody really talks about, and unfortunately it's all over the place. Because again, if we look at all of these different aspects with economics and gender and environment and race and heritage, like I say, it's the reduction of the human person down to one aspect and then seeing it as a power struggle. And it's a power struggle. Everything's a power struggle. Well, if we take a spirituality out of that, then spirituality becomes about power. Or, here's a word maybe you've heard in some spiritual circles, empowerment. So that when it comes to the communist critique, applied to, as a spirituality idea, it's about empowerment. And so, for me, spiritually, to advance, it's about empowerment. Yes, about overcoming faults, and then it's also about self-fulfillment. And notice how quickly it becomes about self. And what's also interesting is those who really get into this idea of empowerment as a spiritual idea, because as the communist critique, it's all about these power struggles. And so it's always about empowerment for some group or some individual. And so spiritually, it's also about empowerment for me. How have I been disempowered, or how have I not allowed others to be empowered? When it becomes about power, when spirituality becomes about power, all of a sudden it's interesting how many of those groups start dabbling. They start taking little bits from a secular writer here and a secular writer there, and next thing you know, they start dabbling in paganism here and paganism there, because to reduce spirituality to empowerment, you don't find a lot about empowerment in the words of Christ or Paul or Peter. And so they start looking for ways of self-fulfillment and empowerment in all these other world religions and all these other ways of going about things. And this is exactly what we have seen, unfortunately, in so many Christian and Catholic, unfortunately, groups, that they don't find enough about empowerment in the Bible or in classic Catholic theology. So they start taking it from all these other, going for all these other things. My next little video is going to be about response and correction and what can we do.